For this episode, we're joined with Sergeant Josh Lawson with the Kentucky State Police for a little campfire cooking. Now, the cool thing about Sergeant Lawson is in 1994, Josh was actually a camper here at Trooper Island.
I was.
Tell me about your experience.
Camp was a lot different back then. It was just a boys' camp, so there's no girls. All of our counselors were troopers. We didn't have the camp counselors that we have now. And we did a lot more marching and cleaning and things like that than some of the kids do today.
So do you think that's what made you want to go into being a trooper with the Kentucky State Police?
Definitely. Had a lot of great role models that came out of that, so made me want to be a trooper someday.
Awesome. Well, and that's something that you could possibly do someday. Come to Trooper Island or be a part of this Trooper Island virtual camp, and someday you may also wear that gray uniform. But what do you got in store for us tonight?
So we're going to do some campfire cooking today. We're going to start off how to build a campfire, how to be safe with all that, and then ultimately we're going to cook a dinner over the campfire. It's a campfire foil bake.
What does that include?
So we've got some red potatoes, onions, some all beef sausages, a little garlic salt, all wrapped up in aluminum foil and thrown in the coals.
Man, I can already taste that. So if you don't care, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
All right.
I do have a little tricks up my sleeve that I'm gonna do later on. But just before it's done, because that's how I like to do things, I'm gonna come back and test it out, okay?
Sounds great.
All right, man, thank you.
All right, thank you. So here with me today is my assistant. It's my son, Will. He's gonna be helping us out today. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over how to build a campfire. So one of the things that you want to make sure, we're the state police. We want everybody to be safe. You know, that's kind of our mission, our goal is safety. So we're not going to show you anything without telling you how to do it safely. So we want to make sure that some things you keep in mind when you're building a campfire, doing things in the woods, closed-toed shoes. We're going to do some things later where we're handling things that are hot. You want to wear gloves or have something to keep your hands safe. And then we'll talk about some more things as we go forward about the best way and the safest way to have a campfire. So to get it started, you have to start out with what we call kindling. So you start out with really small things, and the easiest way to remember it is you want to start with things that are as small as pencil lead almost. So Will's going to hand me, and we start out with really fine things like this. And the smaller you start with and the more time you spend building your campfire, the less time you'll spend blowing on it, fanning the flames, trying to figure out what went wrong with it and why it's not going. So the more time you spend building it, the less time you'll spend working on your campfire later on and standing in the smoke and things like that. So after pencil lead, then you go up to pencil size pieces. And so you go around, you want to make sure they're dry. The way you tell that they're dry is they snap. They don't bend, they don't make any funny noises like that, they just snap in half. After pencil lead, then it's finger size. So we've got our finger size piece over here, and this is what you do next. And so you start with these, the smallest at the bottom. We've also got some even finer things that we use underneath that, barks and things like that, some dry grass that you can use. And you do all these things, build up with the finest, smallest things at the bottom, and then start building on top of that. And ultimately, what we end up with is what we call fuel. So our stick over there will hand to me. We'll eventually make it to something like this. So you get your fuel size pieces, and this is what you're going to have. We're going to chop these down. We've already got some things set up back here, and we're going to end up with fuel this size that's going to burn, create some nice hot coals. So we don't really cook over flames, we cook over coals. It's more like your oven that way. And so then we put our food together. We'll talk more about that. Place it in these hot coals, and then it'll cook a nice dinner for us tonight. So we talked about our fuel. We talked about our pencil lead, pencil, finger size, and then all the way up to the big sticks and our fuel that we'll have here. So what you want to do is, we even found some finer things. Depending on where you live, we found some cedar bark here. Cedar bark stays nice and dry. You can pull little fine pieces off a tree. It won't hurt it. It's not going to damage the tree because it just sheds it off. So you can do that. You can find some nice dry grasses. And what you do is you gather it all together. What do we want to make out of this, Will?
A bird's nest.
A bird's nest. So you're putting this together. We've already kind of ground it up, mashed it up, and we turn it into something that looks just like a bird's nest. In fact, sometimes you can use a bird's nest. We're not going to suggest that because we like for the birds to have those. However, we have put this one together. So if we take our bird's nest and we're going to place it right here in front of our fire. Now we have a number of different ways that we can start a fire. And before we do that, we want to talk about some more safety things. So when you're building your fire, we talk about having closed-toed shoes, having gloves to keep our hands safe whenever things get hot. You also want to make sure you always have water nearby. So you want to keep water. We've raked all the leaves away. You can see the area right here where me and Will are. There's plenty of leaves that have been scraped away. And then we've also circled our fire area with rocks. And it's just going to be an extra barrier that keeps the fire from escaping. We want to be careful the way we build the fire. It doesn't get out of control. We're not underneath any trees. We're not too close to anything flammable. So this is the best place for us to set one up. So along with all those safety measures we want to have a number of different ways we can start a fire. And there are 3 things that fire needs to actually catch and to burn. And Will's going to help me out with those. What are those 3 things that fire needs?
Fuel.
Fuel, which we have with the wood.
Air.
Air, just like we need to breathe. And then what we need to bring to make the fire is heat. Heat, fuel, and air are the 3 things that make fire burn. It's important to know those things because if you want to put a fire out, what do, Will?
You could lay a bunch of dirt on it.
Yep, you can lay dirt on it to take the air away, to smother it. You can
pour water on it, which is probably one of the most efficient ways.
Exactly. Most efficient way is to pour water on it, take the heat away. And so we smothered it with air. And then we either, if we can't remove the fuel from it, then we can just let it burn the fuel out. And once it burns it up and it's gone, the fire will go out. So that's what we ultimately want at the end of the night, is for our fire to burn itself out. So we have those 3 things. And then at one point, we'll take away one of those 3 things to put our fire out. So to introduce the heat into our fire, we want to do it a number of different ways. We have matches, we have lighters. I have it's called a ferro rod that makes sparks. And I can scrape this with a piece of metal. I happen to have a knife where I can scrape, make sparks. And if you have fine enough material in your bird's nest or with your grasses, your barks, things like that, it will catch that spark and actually light up. And then we can move on to our next largest piece of fuel, which will be our pencil lead size. So I'm going to give this a try here. We're going to take this, I'm going to scrape this in here. And as soon as it sparked the first time, we've got some fire. So I want to be careful about this. I want to set it inside of here, kind of turn it up. This is where some gloves would come in handy. And then we're going to take our smallest, finest pieces of our pencil lead, and we're going to set that in there. And we're going to break up our pencil size fuel. I'm going to put that on top of there. And the rule kind of is, we want to wait till our flames get above the fuel that we put in there before we put our next layer on there. So it went up above that pencil lead pretty quick. It's past our pencil size fuel. So now we're getting into our finger size. So as that fire burns up and passes that next layer, we'll add some more on there. And we'll ultimately add on these logs that we split up earlier and give us that nice hot coal bed that we're going to cook our food on tonight. So while we're waiting for the fire to burn down, let's go through some of the things I like to bring in the woods with me to make my outdoor experience a little more comfortable. So we talked about safety. One of the things that keep us most safe are gloves. So we're going to be using our hands a lot. We're going to be handling rough wood, rough items, hot fire, cooking implements and things like that. So we have our gloves with us. I always like to keep something to wipe things off with, keep my area clean, and get sweaty and wipe off with. I can soak it in the lake here at Trooper Island, put it around my neck to cool myself down if I'm starting to get too hot. And then some of our fire things that we were talking about earlier. So as I said, we have a number of different ways we make fire. This is a little lighter. I just got the sleeve so it's waterproof. We've got little things like this that we can add to the fire that kind of accelerate it, make it burn a little bit better. Matches, but matches, lighter, and then my little ferro rod that I like to use to get that started today are some of the things I always carry with me. I like to have about 3 different ways to make fire. I also like to keep a saw with me. If I'm going to let Will use anything, I always let him use a saw because it's the safest thing. And speaking of Will, he's over here in our hammock today, just kind of hanging out while we get things ready for our dinner tonight. So we've gone through our items in our backpack, talk about our campsite, things that we use to make ourselves more comfortable, things we use to make ourselves safe, things to make our fire with. Now we're going to talk about the things that we use to make our dinner tonight. So as I mentioned, we're doing a campfire foil bake. I can't talk about this until we talk about safety again. So we want everybody to be safe. We want to make sure your food is safe. So some of these items don't have to be refrigerated. Your onions, potatoes, things like that. So your sausage, however, is something that you need to keep cool. So we have a lunch bag. So a lot of kids take these to school with them every day. Put an ice pack in there. You can put your sausage in there, anything that you need to keep cool when you take it out in the woods with you. So it stays nice and refrigerated until you're ready to use it. So we're going to go through our items here. What do we need for our campfire foil bake, Will?
Onions, sausage, and potatoes and butter.
Potatoes and butter. We're going to chop all that up. We've cut some of it up here. We're going to add it all together, and then we're going to put some garlic salt on top of everything. Makes it real good. And then we'll show you how we're going to roll that up and put it in those coals that are cooking down over there here in just a minute. So we got everything cut up, we got our butter in there, we got everything seasoned with our garlic salt, we got laying on our aluminum foil. So next thing to do is to wrap it all up, come across this way and just kind of fold it down like that. We'll fold in our sides. And you don't want to make it too complicated because what can happen is you want to check on it and make sure that it's cooked all the way through. So we want to kind of fold everything the same direction, fold it over, fold our sides over. And me and Will are going to take this over and place it in the fire. So we want to use our gloves, right, Will? And where are we going to put this? We're going to put this in the flames over there?
No, we're gonna have to put it in the coals so it doesn't burn.
That's right. We want to put it in the coals. We don't want flames. We want heat, right? And where's the most heat?
In the coals.
In the coals. All right, so let's head over there and put this in the coals now. All right, so we got our campfire foil bake here. Will's going to help me out. He's going to hang on to this for just a second. I'm going to adjust our coals a little bit. So we got these burned down nice. We don't have a lot of flames. We got some in the back, but we'll adjust those. So we got a nice oven going on here. Now there's a lot of rules that can go into this about how long you can put your hand over it, can tell you how hot it is, but we know we got a pretty good set of coals. Will's going to hand me our little foil pack here, and we are going to settle this down right in those coals using our gloves so we stay safe. And then we're going to move some of these coals in around it, and then as these other ones burn down, we're just going to kind of keep shifting our coals and putting them in, around, and on top of it so it cooks all the way around, just like it's in your oven at home. I can already hear it sizzling, and that pretty much does it for our campfire cooking segment today.
So while Sergeant Lawson's outside cooking, I've brought two of my friends in here to teach you all how to cook indoors. You all have met Trooper Purdy, but I've also brought Al Gibson. Now, Al was a counselor here in 1977 and 1978. Al, can you just kind of tell me your favorite Trooper Island memory?
One of my favorite experiences at Trooper Island was getting the boys, it was a boys camp when I first started, getting the boys off the bus, lining them up, making groups out of them, and you would always have one or two that were crying because they were homesick, they wanted to go home. The best experience would come on Friday when you were lining them up to put them back on the bus, and those same two would be crying because they didn't want to go home, they wanted to stay here.
Wow.
You knew you had done a good job.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm going to turn it over to Trooper Purdy here. What do y'all got in store for us?
Hey, we have got s'mores. I mean, you know, there's a number of different ways to make s'mores. You can make them over the campfire, but if you don't have a fire, there you can just make them inside in the oven.
No kidding.
No kidding. You know, my daughter, she always says that I make the best marshmallows. So we're gonna see how this breaks out and ends up here today.
I mean, you know I'm excited. So let's see what you got for us.
Sure. So we've got some graham crackers. You can't have a s'more without some good graham crackers, right, Al?
That's exactly right. You gotta have good graham crackers. You gotta have good chocolate. We have two kinds of chocolate today.
What do we have?
We have traditional Hershey bars. And we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do some Reese cup s'mores also.
Reese cups. You know, I was at home a couple weeks ago, and my wife, she broke out Reese's cups, and I said, "How many Reese's did you get?" And she said, "I got 2. I don't think you like s'mores." And I said, "No, but I like Reese's." So I was a little bummed that I didn't get everything.
So let me get this straight. You're going to make s'mores with a Reese cup. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly what we're going to do.
That's it.
Wow. I'm excited.
All right, so we've got our graham crackers down, and then we need what? We're making 8 s'mores, so 8 marshmallows there. and then we get to decide. So what do you think? Are you going for Hershey's or Reese's?
Let's do a checkerboard, want to?
Yeah, let's split it up. I mean, what are you feeling your preferred s'more is going to be?
Mine's going to be Reese's.
Reese's. How about you, JB?
Man, I'm really excited about the Reese's.
Okay.
You know?
Well, we'll see how these turn out. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna place the chocolate on top of the marshmallows. Make sure you take this paper off of the Reese's before you put it on there.
We also want to remind everybody that safety comes first when you're doing this. Make sure you have an adult around to supervise.
Yep, so make sure they're here, because this pan could be hot whenever it comes out, so. Oh, there we go.
Looks like Al's a little stingy on the chocolate there.
That's
What's
right.
going on with that?
That'll be the best one of the Hershey's because the chocolate won't drip off over the side.
Oh, he has put some thought into this. So,
So how long do these go in the oven, and what temperature would you set it on?
we're gonna bake them at 300 degrees for about 5 minutes. So make sure that you watch the marshmallow. We've got the Jet Puff s'more marshmallows, or the big square ones. Whenever you see them start expanding and getting soft, make sure you go ahead and get ready to pull those out of the oven. So let's go in here and throw them in. What do you say?
I'm ready.
So here we are in the kitchen. Al, if you want to open that for us, we'll get these put in. Got our mitts on. We're gonna set them in. Make sure that you've got some supervision for this and be safe. Now that they're in there, we're gonna set the timer. 5 minutes. We're gonna take a look. We'll see what they look like here in a few. As you can see, they still have about another minute. The chocolate's starting to melt. You see that back there, Al?
It is. We're about a minute away.
Marshmallows are getting big, so we're gonna close it. Give it a second here. All right, Al, looks like our timer
Timer just went off.
So let's take these out of the oven. What do you say?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay.
Safety first. Make sure you got your mitt.
Yep. Boy,
They're in for a treat.
those look good, don't they?
Somebody's in for a big treat of those.
You know what? Jonathan Biven, he's been out here. He's talking about them. What do you say we carry him out there and let him give these a try?
Let's do that.
All right. Hey, John, we got some s'mores here.
Fellas, while y'all are doing all the hard work, I got us some napkins.
Oh, you are the man.
I think that's the least I can do.
Well, what do you say we sit down here and give one of these a try?
Here you go, Robert.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So which one do you think is going to be the best?
Reese's.
You know, I think the Reese's looks good. I'm gonna go traditional though, really quick.
You can straighten them up when you get them out of the oven.
I'm probably gonna try both, I'll be honest.
No, I'm going to.
How
This
about
has
you?
got my name all over it. Woo! They're hot.
What do you say?
What a mess. The messier the s'more, the better the s'more.
Well, that's some fine eating right there.
And you know what? I think Reese's is the way to go. So, my challenge to you, and my question to you, which one do you think you'll like, man? I'm gonna, just on the panel here,
You know, you can't go wrong. Chocolate,
here's the thing.
marshmallows, graham crackers.
But at the end of the day, I guess we gotta try the other one too. We just, you know.
You can't go wrong with either one.
So I'll take this one.
All right, well, here, let me try a Reese's.
Okay, so like, just dig into it, you think?
Go for it.
All right.
You already got food all over your face anyways.
Well, good one. I have my,
Well, what do you think?
you know what? It's hard to beat tradition. So kids, I want you to try. I want you to make some with Reese's, some with Hershey's. And go to our Facebook page. Tell us which one you like best. Go to Facebook, hashtag Virtual Trooper Island, and let us know. Take photographs. See if your s'mores are as pretty as ours. What do you think, guys?
Hey,
I think this is good. Best and second best s'more I've ever had.
Well, why don't we send it out to Sergeant Lawson that's outside cooking and see what he's got in store for us?
let's do it.
All right. Okay, Sarge, I have a confession. So Trooper Purdy and my good buddy Al Gibson and I have been inside, and we've actually had dessert prior to this. So we actually made some s'mores in the oven.
Really?
But I have a feeling what you've got here is going to be way better than what we've made in there.
I think so. I think it's about time.
Is it time?
Yep.
Let's check it out.
We'll clear off our coals on here. We've put them on top. We've got some underneath. We've got some on the sides. Will's been keeping an eye on it. So about 30 minutes later, we've got our foil pack out of the fire, wearing our gloves. Everybody's staying safe. And put over here on our table. So, Jonathan, let's see what we got here. We'll take off some of these. That's why we wrapped it in 2 layers of aluminum foil, so we can get some ashes there. They'll come off, and we'll get a look at what we've got here. Oh yeah.
Kids, this smells amazing right now. Let me
Oh,
tell
wow.
you right now. Wow.
That butter, some garlic salt, all that good stuff in there. It's hot.
I know, I know.
I know you went in there. So we got some cooked pieces in there, but I mean, that's dinner
I
tonight.
gotta try a potato.
Go ahead.
You're right, it's hot.
I thought it might be.
Very hot. But wow, man, that is amazing. And to just imagine cooking that right out here with your campfire and,
Yeah.
and the safety that you did that under, you know? So we gotta have dessert at some point too.
We do.
What's the odds we can get that fire up just a little bit more
Yeah.
while we're sitting here having a little bite to eat?
Sure.
And I may have one more surprise for us if you can build me one big fire.
I can do that and get it built up.
Okay, so let's eat.
All right.
Get the fire going, and then I'll bring back my surprise.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks.
Will, Sarge, thank you all so much for taking the time to show not only myself, but all the kids at home how you can just, enjoy a good campfire, have a delicious meal. The campfire's one of the big things about it is having a family around it.
Yeah.
So my surprise to you is I've got some friends and family that are going to come in, and I thought since you have this beautiful fire going, how about we roast some marshmallows? So guys, come on in here and let's roast some marshmallows, all right?
I have to say, Jonathan, marshmallows being roasted over a real campfire beats marshmallows inside any day.
So our challenge to you is now that you have your skills, take a photo, take a video, put them on the Facebook page here for Trooper Island using the hashtag Virtual Trooper Island. Remember to stay safe, make good choices, and we'll see you next time.